Pennsylvania. What are Democrats failing to do right now to win this political discourse, to change the conversation?
Well, we shouldn't have been here in the first place, but here we are. First of all, you can't have leaders going out saying they can do nothing. And when you have the leader of the House of Representatives on the Democratic side, Congressman Hakeem Jeffries, saying they have no leverage, you've already given up and conceded. Yes, that polling is absolutely correct. I hear it everywhere that I go, that Democrats are, in fact, upset, not only with Democratic leadership, but with the Democratic Party itself. You know, President Biden, on his way out, he warned that the oligarchs were going to take over. Now, he was a little late in saying that, but he is, in fact, right. And the Democratic Party has the opportunity in this moment to, first of all, do a complete autopsy and accept the results that we failed. We didn't answer to the pain points of the people, and that we are going to be bold and stop trying to be Republican light. But you cannot, as leaders, stand up and tell Democrats and Americans there is nothing that we can do. Because if they're saying they can't do anything, then what about the big mamas and the big papas all over this country who are suffering if leaders with special titles say that they can't do anything? It's weak, it's sad, and those leaders actually need to go. You cannot have the same leaders that got the Democratic Party in this mess standing up before the American people saying we're weak as hell, because that's basically what they're saying.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. So we got to talk about the Democrat leader, Hakeem Jeffries, who is facing a whole lot of backlash from the left, from his own colleagues, over the fact that his leadership right now is piss poor. Okay, Democrats are in a free fall, and this dude, Hakeem Jeffries, being the minority leader of the House, seems to be the guy that should be stepping up and filling the leadership role. But unfortunately for the Democrat Party, they do not have any masculine leadership. They don't have anybody with any type of charisma, swag, anything at all that can motivate the Democrat Party base, right, to revive the party. I mean, this guy, Hakeem Jeffries, he has the charisma of a cardboard box, okay? He is a discounted version of Obama, right? He is the poor man's version of Obama. He's not inspiring anybody, right? Nobody has ever listened to Hakeem Jeffries speak and say, oh, man, wow, that guy, right? He really blew me away, right? He blew me away. Nobody's ever said that, okay? He's very boring, okay? It's like watching paint dry, listening to this guy speak.
And in Article 1, I think it's Section 9, Clause 7, the House in particular.
Did you just Section 9, Clause 7 me, Leader Jeffries? That's very pleasing to me. That's like talking to Doris Kearns Goodwin, for God's sakes. Throwing out clauses and articles and things.
And his lack of charisma really is hurting the Democrat Party right now. As you can see, the disapproval rating is basically 70%. Jesus. Yo, I just realized how embarrassing these numbers are, bro. 7 out of 10 Americans disapprove of the Democrats. Yo, 7 out of 10. Wow. This is bad. This is real bad. So with that being said, Jake Tapper is going to confront Mr. Hakeem Jeffries on these terrible poll numbers and the fact that his colleagues are basically turning on him over the fact that his leadership has been a disaster. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Joining us now is the House Democratic leader, Hakeem Jeffries. Leader Jeffries, so good to see you. I don't know if you could hear, but or could see rather, but the instrumental portion of the bump-in was an interpretive dance protest outside the Kennedy Center. I have to ask you, Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro from your neighboring Commonwealth of Pennsylvania told the New York Times about congressional Democrats, quote, they are failing to address the real concerns that people have. They're failing to do what is their fundamental responsibility constitutionally, to be a check. That's a pretty harsh assessment of Democrats' first month in the second Trump administration. What's your response?
I have no idea what the governor was talking about, so you're going to have to ask him for clarification. Here's what I know.
He was talking about you, buddy. He was talking about you. Okay? It's amazing how this guy, I don't know what the governor is talking about. He was talking about you. You are the leader, right? You're the leader of the Democrats in Congress. You are doing a terrible job. You suck, right? You're just bad. You're really bad, okay? Even Jake Tapper's like, this guy is full of shit, right? That's his face. I can't get enough of laughing at the Democrats, bro. This party is a complete clown show. It's like comedy. It really is.
What the facts are. Donald Trump's poll numbers aren't going up. They are coming down, particularly as it relates to his management of the economy. That's a direct result of the fact that House Democrats and Senate Democrats have made clear that we are working to drive down the high cost of living. We believe we have to make America more affordable. We believe that we should be relentlessly focused on improving the quality of life of everyday Americans. Donald Trump is a chaos agent who promised to lower costs, lower the high cost of living in the United States of America, and he's doing the exact opposite because he's not focused on it. He's unleashing chaos on the American people.
Amazing. Amazing. If Democrats are so focused on lowering costs and making things affordable, why in the hell did things get so unaffordable over the last 4 years, right? Why didn't you do anything about it for the last 4 years if you're working so hard on it? Again, it's amazing. The reason why there are issues right now with the economy has nothing to do with President Trump, right? In fact, this is a continuation of the Biden economy, okay? You know, liberals said that President Trump's first 2 years of his great economy, oh, that doesn't count. That was Obama's economy, right? Now, all of a sudden, when it comes to Trump being in office and he has inherited Biden's terrible economy that they said was great before the election, right? They said the economy was amazing. But now that Trump has inherited Biden's terrible economy, they're not giving President Trump the benefit of the doubt. They're not saying, oh, wait, hold on. He walked into this, right? He hasn't had time to really do anything about it due to the fact that, one, any type of economic plan or agenda that is enacted would really require Congress to do something because they have the power of the purse. They are currently trying to enact a budget plan right now. Okay, they're pushing proposals right now, their economic package. It just takes time. Hakeem Jeffries knows that. They also know that once these proposals are passed, if they are passed, I'm sure they will be passed, it's also going to take time for the American people to feel the relief, right? It's going to take time. So that's what people got to understand, okay? I think for the next at least year and a half or so, when it comes to the economy, a lot of it is going to be just a continuation of Joe Biden, okay? And then after the midterms, you'll really start to see what the Trump economy looks like, okay? Democrats can play this game because they feel that the American people are stupid. But I don't think the American people are stupid. I think that the American people realize that Trump inherited this, and this is something that is going to take time, right, in order to really try to get the economy back on track.
We are not losing in court. We are actually winning in court. The Trump administration is losing. We are partnering on at least 79 different lawsuits that have been brought related to about 35 different illegal or unconstitutional executive orders. And the Trump administration continues to lose in court after court after court. And that effort will, of course, be on. House Republicans, they've been on the run. They are feeling the pressure of the fact that their policies are deeply unpopular with the American people. And we've seen that play out this past week all across the country. And Democrats are going to continue to make clear that we will stand against the effort to end Medicaid as we know it, stand against the effort to detonate Social Security or Medicare, certainly stand against the effort to undermine veterans' benefits or nutritional assistance to children and families.
So hilarious, absolutely hilarious. I mean, so many lies, man. If this was a Fox News interview, they would call him out on these lies. Like, for example, this guy claims that the Republican policies or Republican proposals are unpopular, right? Like what? The mass deportations, which 60% of the country agrees with, and Democrats don't agree with the American people on this issue, right? The Democrat proposals of open borders is what's deeply unpopular, right? Like, for example, when you talk about banning biological boys from girls' sports, that is an 80-20 issue that the American people agree with, okay? Democrats stand against that, right? So again, I'm trying to figure out what proposals from the GOP are unpopular, right, that this guy is talking about. Okay, I can't really think of them. But what I do know is that, again, Democrats are telling these lies about how President Trump is, quote unquote, cutting Medicaid, right? And you know what they're actually really doing? You know what they call a cut to Medicaid, right? Requiring people actually prove that they're working, right? That's what they're calling a cut, right? To say, hey, you know what? In order to get this government assistance, if you are an able-bodied individual, you need to work, right? You need to actually prove that you are working. You need to have work requirements. Oh, that's a cut, right? They're trying to take away your Medicaid. It's almost as if they just want people living off the system that are able to work, but they just don't have to work because the government is just, giving them everything, right? Like giving them, food stamps, okay, giving them, free health care and stuff like that. It's like, okay, well, what incentive do people have to work if we keep just handing out stuff, right, to people who aren't paying into the system? That is a handout, right? That is a handout. That's the difference. A handout is when you are giving taxpayer dollars to people who are not working, who are not paying into the system. And that's one of the main issues that we have right now. That's one of the main issues that we have. When you talk about trying to address the deficit and the debt, we have too many people living off the system and not working. And when you have a system like that, again, that drives up the debt. It's unsustainable, completely unsustainable. And look at Democrats. Well, we're against work requirements, right? We're against requiring people to actually try to work in order to get help. No, we just want them to stay on the system forever. So, again, Democrats, they can play this game all they want, but Trump is not. He's not taking away your Social Security. He's not taking away your Medicare, your Medicaid, okay? They're saying, listen, we need to try to get people off of it, right, who don't really need it, okay? And that means putting more requirements to prove that you actually need it, okay? I don't see anything wrong with that, but apparently Democrats do.
It's certainly true that President Trump's poll numbers are not in a great place, although they're higher than they ever were in his first term. But Congressional Republicans polling is about 40%. Congressional Democrats polling is about 20%. So that's an issue for you. And then you mentioned policies here. On Tuesday, House Republicans are set to hold a vote to overhaul the tax code. They're going to cut spending on Medicaid and food assistance. Now, just in terms of the numbers, you and the Democrats only need 3 House Republicans to jump ship and join you and block any of those measures. If what President Trump and the Congressional Republicans are proposing is so extreme, have you been able to convince any of those 3 Republicans who are in Kamala Harris districts to join you?
Well, that process is certainly ongoing, and as we saw play out all across the country, House Republicans are now being held accountable for the extreme positions connected to this reckless Republican budget. And understand, this budget is a betrayal of working class Americans, of middle class Americans, and of everyday Americans. They want to jam $4.5 trillion worth of tax cuts down the throats of the American people to benefit their billionaire donors and wealthy corporations, and at the same time, they want to stick everyday Americans with the bill by ending Medicaid as we know it, undermining veterans' benefits, and doing the type of things that Americans do not support. And so we only need 3 House Republicans. There are 215 Democrats in the House. We only need 3 to stand up on behalf of their constituents, and that is going to be an ongoing effort over the next few days to identify those individuals.
Well, yeah, so this type of mentality is why, again, this is why this country can, like, realistically, like, if this Doge thing doesn't work, we're cooked, right? We're so cooked because, politicians don't want to have hard conversations. Because out of one side of their mouth, they'll say, well, you can't really do anything about the deficit or the debt without cutting from Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare, blah, 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 right? That's what they'll say. And then when Republicans actually try to do something, right, to make the programs better, okay, or to reform the program so that people who actually need the services get the services and not people who are just trying to live off the system. Oh, you can't do that. Oh, that's terrible. They're trying to take away your Medicare, your Medicaid. Okay, so if that's the case, right, if you never want to cut anything, right, if you never want to cut any entitlements, then don't ever complain about spending. Don't ever complain about the debt. Don't ever complain about the deficit, because the only way, according to Democrats, that you're going to fix it is that you got to cut from these programs. And Republicans aren't really cutting from the programs. They're just saying, hey, we want you to prove that you actually have a job, right? Which, I'm not sure how you define that as a cut, right? Also, Republicans are saying, well, we want the states to handle Medicaid more, right? To take on more of Medicaid and stuff like that. Again, making it more of a state thing, okay? I mean, apparently that's a cut, right? That's such a terrible thing, according to Democrats. But, you know, again, this is the problem with our country. People don't want to have tough conversations. They don't want to accept the fact that, hey, you know what? Our government's got too big. We're probably providing too many goods and services. And honestly, the libertarian in me, when it comes to economics, I would much rather see a lot of these programs be abolished and you could just give me my tax dollars back. Just give me my tax dollars back, okay? Like, for example, when it comes to Social Security, I think there should be an opt-out, right? I think that I can invest the money that I send to the government for Social Security. I think that I can invest the money better, right? I know that I can do much more with the money that I send for Social Security, the money that I pay towards Social Security every month than the government can. So if they let me keep the money and I can opt out and say, hey, you know what? I'm just not going to get Social Security. I would do that in a heartbeat. I would do it in a heartbeat, right? Because I know for a fact I can make the money grow a lot faster and a lot better and a lot more efficiently than whatever the government does with the money, right? Which clearly, right, they're not using it for the correct reasons, which is why Social Security is basically going insolvent. So for me personally, I would just like the option just to opt out. And I wish the GOP would come up with some proposal where they say, hey, you can opt out of Social Security and you don't have to pay the taxes, right? I just won't get it, right? And I would do that in a heartbeat. I would do it in a heartbeat. I would take every dime that I save that I don't have to send to the government and I would just invest it. And I would be better off, right? A lot better off when I retire. I'm just saying, right? That's what I would do personally.
It's not tough to identify them. I mean, there's Fitzpatrick in Pennsylvania. Kamala Harris won his district. And Don Bacon in Omaha. Kamala Harris won his district. I mean, but I have not seen anything to suggest that Democrats have succeeded in winning over any of these Republicans.
Jake, you're talking about 3 different individuals. We're talking about 25 to 30 different individuals who are in the toughest districts all across the country. And as you've seen, for instance, Representative David Valadao from California made clear he's very uncomfortable with these Medicaid cuts. We've seen other Republicans speak about the challenges that they have. Representative Malliotakis right here in New York City has made clear she's very uncomfortable with these Medicaid cuts that are being proposed because they are harmful. They will close hospitals in rural America, in urban America. They will shut down nursing homes. They will hurt children, people with disabilities, and seniors.
Wow. Work requirements. Work requirements will shut down hospitals, right? And it's going to shut down nursing homes. Work requirements. That's what they're talking about, right? Go read about it. Go read about the so-called cuts that the GOP is making, right? They're saying, oh, wait, we want work requirements, right? Apparently, that's going to destroy everything. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. Yeah, this country, man, it's just fascinating. It really is fascinating to listen to these individuals. We don't have any real serious problem solvers anymore, right, in the government, because a lot of these people, they're in government to be in government for the rest of their lives, right? They're in government to continue to get reelected, not because they want to make the best decisions for the country moving forward. And that's the biggest problem with the debt. The only reason we racked up this debt is because we don't have term limits, right? If you actually had term limits, politicians would be incentivized to do the right thing. But because we don't have term limits, they decide to kick the can down the road. Let's just spend more money. Let's never audit the government. Let's never audit the programs and the entities that we fund. Let's never make sure that taxpayer dollars are being spent wisely. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, when you just hand out money to people and you say, here's this program, here's that program, right? We're going to give you this, give you that. Yeah, I mean, people get hooked to it. They get addicted to it. And it's hard to take it away. Right. And when you take it away, or when you, again, try to at least streamline it, right, when you try to make it more responsible, you know, that means that you can lose elections. And it's just an unfortunate reality that we currently have in this country. Our current system, I think, again, part of the reason why it is broken is due to the fact that politicians have an incentive structure to simply just continue to spend money recklessly and to never make hard decisions because they want to get reelected rather than just doing the right thing. And that's the biggest problem. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share. A Black conservative perspective. Peace.